Does Mr. Cresswell need help?
No, Mr. Cresswell can take care of his damn self.
If you get scared watching a horror movie and you cover your eyes, there's a good chance it's not actually going to help you, because you're leaving yourself with the two greatest strengths of the horror genre, your imagination and its sound. Movies like The Blair Witch Project are great examples of this. They show so little, but weaponize sound and imagination to make it terrifying.
Oh my God, what the fuck is that? Dude, what the fuck is that?
With Storytime, I wanted to create an antagonist that weaponized these two things specifically and use them to terrorize the audience.
Don't you want to know how it ends, Poppy?
So I assembled some usual suspects, many of which worked on Portrait of God, to help me make this come true.
Dylan is playing God again.
Are you just...
This is just like the filming of Apocalypse Now.
Off my
I'm
set.
having a heart attack.
Martin Sheen, no!
I also worked with many voice actors on Portrait of God, and I knew that for Storytime, if we found one really great voice actor, it could bring so much to this project.
Don't open the door, Mr. Cresswell rasped. Something outside wants to hurt us.
But before hiring a voice actor, I created a temporary version of the podcast using my voice. Yes, my very not scary, very not British voice.
Don't open the door, Mr. Cresswell rasped. Something outside wants to hurt us.
But it gave Sydney something to listen to while we were filming, and also gave us the flexibility in post to change the lines before hiring a voice actor. So while we were editing, we put out a casting call to find the right voice actor. We looked through hundreds of submissions before finding Sam Roberts.
The Short Frights podcast presents Poppy's story.
Not only was the sound of Sam's voice perfect, but he gave so many options for his line deliveries, and he gave so much range in those options, and he was really just a dream performer to work with.
Nowhere to run, Poppy. Nowhere to run, Poppy. Nowhere to run, Poppy.
Second most important to Sam's voice was the sound around it. This was the first project that I used a sound library for, because I knew that just my own recorded sounds weren't going to cut it for this one. It really had to feel quite professional. There are a ton of great options for sound libraries, but the one we went with was called Soundly, and I had a blast designing and mixing using their assets. Good sound design is usually composed of several different layers. Let's look at this floorboard creak, for example. There's a bass creak, some additional creaks, a deeper, more bassy sound to add weight, then even more creaks to make it sound complete. And after I put these sounds together, my friend Jacqueline came in and gave it a much more polished mix to create this.
Coming to stop her from leaving.
To complement the soundscape, I wanted to focus very clearly on color in this, particularly our red and blue palette. The idea was for Mr. Cresswell's presence to be felt through the red, bleeding into Sydney's otherwise blue apartment, at times quite literally. I wanted the color to feel threatening on its own.
1, action.
That way, when Sydney enters the bathroom and there's this big red shower curtain behind her, we're led to believe that it could explode to life as Mr. Cresswell at any moment. I leaned very aggressively into saturating the red to a point where it feels like it's kind of stepping out of believability, it's stepping out of her apartment, and it's entering this kind of fantastical place.
Nowhere to run, Poppy.
As for the visual effects shots, there's a good mix of big and small ones throughout, which is pretty typical of all the projects we've done.
2, 1. Okay, one more time. Everything good?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm actually dead.
The most notable shot is definitely this moment at the end.
Mr. Cresswell took her.
The way we achieved this was by locking down the camera on the tripod in front of the bed with nothing on it, just flat sheets and the phone. And then what we did is we had Sydney come in and lay as flat as she could under the covers and then lunge out.
Oh, you good?
When we were shooting it though, it looked hilarious because it was very hard for her to actually lunge from under there.
It's very slippery under
Yeah.
guys. It's like a slip and slide.
But in post, I combined these two shots, masking the shot of Sydney lunging to materialize over the empty bed. I used the puppet tool to help morph the sheets and blend the two shots together. Another notable VFX shot was this one, where we filmed a separate plate of Sydney being dragged across the floor to overlay as a reflection in this picture frame.
He thrashed her about the room.
These 2 blood shots were actually also VFX. The bigger one is a bit more noticeable. It's a bit over the top, but it's only shown a couple of frames, so I felt like the violence needed to be noticeably shocking for how little it's shown for. The smaller moment of blood, I just animated to look like it's blooming more on this moment where he said the blood is spreading. This shot of the shadow under the door was created entirely in post. It was too hard to get the light at the right angle under Sydney's door, so I shot footage of my own shadow separately and then created this fake light and then put it all together and created this. Then there are a bunch of hopefully unnoticeable VFX shots. The curtains we hung in these wide shots had tape holding them on the rod, so I just removed the tape in post. We had a continuity problem with the toilet paper moving around on the holder in the bathroom, so I went in and tracked on a consistent toilet paper roll throughout. And yes, I did feel like I was losing my mind trying to make toilet paper look good for hours and hours and hours. And finally, but most importantly perhaps, the phone screen was created in post as well. It's always the fine details that make the biggest difference in screen replacements. For this, it was the reflections on the screen, but also the addition of scratches and dust to make the glass look real.
Stay with me.
Ryan Shreves did the score here again, and the first thing we talked about together was the audiobook jingle. I really wanted to make the jingle this kind of through-line motif that plays even for the spookier parts in the film. The mix of vocals and strings in the score that are the backbone of the jingle is kind of a unique sound that we haven't done together before, so that was really exciting to me, and I'm super happy with it. Here are the movies that I pulled from to create the temp score for this project. So that's it. That's Storytime. Had so much fun bringing this one together, especially working with some of the same people we worked on Portrait of God with. And you can check out their work again in the description below. Looking forward to sharing more with you soon.
Mr. Cresswell kind of looks like a triangle right now.
Hey, yo, Mr. Cresswell, you're holding up the film.
No, that's good. Thank you.